Bonjour, nous sommes à la Tour Eiffel à Paris aujourd'hui. Quoi? En anglais? Ah, d'accord, d'accord. Sorry, I didn't realize I was speaking French there. Sometimes my natural French instincts just kick in, you know. It's actually the only two sentences I know in French. Anyways, let's try that again in English. So we're here at the Eiffel Tower in Paris today. As you can see back there, if I pan up, I seem to do a lot of panning in these videos. You can see the full length of it there. Now this tower was the tallest tower when it was built in 1889. It was 324 meters tall until the Chrysler building actually overtook it in 1930. It was named after Gustave Eiffel, the engineer who built it as well. Now today this is the most paid visited monument in the world, with 25,000 visitors visiting it and ascending the tower every day on average. Now the interesting thing was, when the tower was first being built, a lot of people didn't want this tower to be built, and all the artists in Paris got together and created this petition. Not the petition that some of the dodgy people out here in front of the Eiffel Tower do, but a petition to stop the tower. And here is what some of the artists said. It's pretty funny. They said, we need to stop this useless and monstrous tower. It will dominate Paris like a gigantic black smokestack. All our other monuments will be humiliated and will disappear in this ghastly dream. So the Eiffel Tower not only had artistic problems to overcome, but also a whole host of engineering problems, an overwhelming amount of engineering problems. So as an example, the lifts that go up to the Eiffel Tower, no company in France actually wanted to build them. They actually had some engineering problems from wind consideration, since it was going to be the tallest tower in the world, and obviously in Paris, wind from all angles. A lot of people said it couldn't be done as well. And that's what today's quote is about. When you know you should do something, but there's all these problems that need to be overcome, what do you actually do? And the quote is from Henry Ford. Now Henry Ford, founder of the Ford Motor Company, a lot of people think that he invented the assembly line and invented the automobile. Those two things are actually false. The automobile was invented by Carl Benz from Mercedes-Benz, and the assembly line, no one really knows who first invented it, but one of the large first documented use of the assembly line was in Venice, when they used to build ships by sending them down the river and assembling one part at a time. So here is the quote, and it is about breaking things down so that you can get more productive, like Henry Ford did. The quote goes like this: nothing is particularly hard when you divide it into small jobs. Nothing is particularly hard when you divide it into small jobs. It's kind of like the Confucius quote, a journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step. Or, you know, how do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time. So this today is all about productivity, and the opposite of productivity, procrastination, which you perhaps could be more familiar with. So if you can master this though, I believe you'll get more done in one day than 90% of the people out there. And that's a really important thing to do. Here's when you should use this quote. You should use it when really you just don't feel like doing things. So you might be about to reply to an email that's really difficult, but you're going to check Facebook instead. It might be when you really should get your finances sorted out, but instead of getting your finances, you're going to take a nap. Or I really should work on that business plan, but I'm going to get a snack instead because it's just easier. So that's when you should use it. And the reason it's important is because if you try and do two things at once, your brain gets overwhelmed, and your brain really can't multitask at all. I'll give you an example of this. If I was to ask you right now, what's 172 divided by 4, and what did you have for breakfast yesterday? See how you can't do that at the same time? You can only do it one step at a time. So when you give your brain a problem like, you know, it's 6 a.m. and the alarm went off and you have to get out of bed, spring out of bed, your brain thinks, oh, that's too hard. I've got to like open my eyes, get up, overcome the energy thing, and it's so toasty warm in here. It's going to be cold outside of bed. Your brain can't deal with that. So what you do is you break it into small steps. That's the simple example I'll give you. So as an example, you would just say, I'm just going to open up my eyes first. Once I open up my eyes, I might just grab my phone and check Facebook, because that's really easy to do. Then I might just sit up in bed and then check Facebook. Then after that, what I'll do is I'll actually get out of bed. And by dividing it into small steps, it makes it so much more doable. I'll give you a bigger example of this. The first time I got married, not the first time I got married, the first time I ever have got married, and the only time I get married, if you're watching this, Stephanie, the first time I got married, it was really overwhelming because we had to like plan the wedding, and then you have to like sort out who to invite. Then there was like the celebrant, the venue, the speeches, you know, all these different things. It's overwhelming. So we just procrastinated it for about a month or so. But what we found is if you divide into small steps, it becomes easy. But the opposite of the quote is also true. What I mean by that is if something is still too difficult, it means you haven't divided into small enough jobs yet. If something is still too difficult, you haven't divided into small enough jobs. So you might have a wedding, and underneath that, you might have 3 things, and one of them is find a wedding celebrant. But if that's still too difficult, it means that you've got to divide it into smaller pieces. I mean, what has to happen in order for you to find a wedding celebrant? You might have to jump on a Google and type in wedding celebrant Sydney. See, if you break it down in that small piece, the thing is your BS, your belief systems, don't kick in. Your brain doesn't think, oh, I can't do that, or it's going to be too hard, because everyone can do that. Everyone can jump onto Google and Google something. That's really easy to do. And if you can master this, just breaking things into small steps, as opposed to tackling and diving into the whole task at once, that's not a word at all, at once, which is way too difficult for most people, then you'll be well on your way to achieving a lot more with a lot less stress as well. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you've got anything to add, please put it in the comments below. And I obviously make these videos because it's helped me, and I would love for them to help as many people as possible. So please hit the share button if you liked it as well. Hit the like button if you liked it too, and all that funky stuff. And thanks for watching. Really appreciate it, and I hope to see you on the next video. Bonjour. Bonjour doesn't make any sense. Au revoir.